Hello everybody, welcome to Gochujang Mama. Today we'll be making pork tamales. For the meat you will need 2 bay leaves, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 chicken bouillon cube, a half teaspoon of pepper, 2 garlic cloves minced, a half teaspoon of ground cumin, 1 5-pound pork shoulder roast or Boston butt. First, I'm going to trim the fat off of our pork roast, then I'm going to cut into big large chunks. Next, I'm going to place them in a crock pot, add all of our seasoning, cover with a lid. I'm going to place the temperature on high and slow cook for 5 hours. In the meantime, you will need 1 pound bag of dried corn husks, and you want to start this right away. It's going to take about 2 hours to soak. I'm just going to separate the leaves, submerge them in hot water in my sink, and just place something heavy on top to keep them submerged in the water. You want to at least soak them for an hour. So after about 5 hours, this is what your pork will look like. As you can see, it's falling apart. I'm going to go ahead and remove the bay leaves, and I'm going to start placing them in a bowl for shredding. And I'm also going to use the juice later, so I'm going to strain any meat bits and add that to our meat, and I'm going to save the juice for later. Okay, on to our puree. You're going to need cascabel chiles, pasilla chiles, and ancho chiles, 1 onion, and 3 cloves of garlic. So here I'm going to remove the seeds from our chiles. So in a pot, I'm going to go ahead and submerge our seeded chiles. I'm going to add our onion and 3 cloves of garlic and let that boil for about 15 to 20 minutes. Once it's boiling for about 15 minutes, I'm going to remove from the heat and let it come to room temperature. Then I'm going to go ahead and blend it in a blender. After blending, I'm going to strain the puree for any chile skin that might be left in the puree. You'll need 1 5-pound bag of fresh masa and a 28-ounce can of pork lard. Now here to the shredded meat, I'm adding some of our juice that I saved from the crock pot, some of the broth, and I'm adding some of our chile puree, and I'm going to mix. And I thought it needed a little bit more seasoning, so I'm adding salt. Now I'm going to take our pork lard and melt it down. Now that it's melted, I'm going to go ahead and start preparing our masa. So in a large bowl, I'm going to break apart our masa. Next, I'm going to add 2 cups of our melted down pork lard, and I'm going to mix. I'm adding salt to taste. Then I'll be adding a cup of pork broth or juices that I saved from the crock pot, and I'm going to mix. Now I'm going to add some of our pureed chile, and this is to give the masa color and a little bit of flavor. Now I'm going to mix, and I'll be mixing for a good 10 to 15 minutes. You want to make sure everything's incorporated well and that the masa is light and fluffy. And here's after about 15 minutes of mixing, and now we're ready to prepare our tamales. So here I have a corn husk, and one side is rough, you can feel it, and the other side is smooth. And you want to spread your masa on the smooth side of the corn husk. And you can use a spoon or a knife, and you just want to spread a thin layer and add lots of meat. I like my tamales with a thin layer of masa and lots of meat inside. You can do what you like. So So here we have our prepared tamale. I'm folding it over and then once under, and we're done. So here again, spreading a thin layer of masa, adding a good amount of meat. Don't be chinchy. And now we're just folding it under, and I'll continue. After doing about 7 dozens of tamales, I'm going to place a bowl inside a steamer pot upside down, and I'm going to start stacking my tamales in a teepee pattern. I was able to fit about 6 dozen inside this pot comfortably. And now I'm just going to cover all of our tamales with a layer of extra corn husks. You can use a towel, a clean towel, paper towels, but I'm using corn husks. They do the job. And now I'm going to cover with a lid. I'm going to bring the water at the bottom to a boil and simmer low, and after an hour, I'm going to check our tamales. And it should come out easily from the corn husk, and that lets you know your tamales are done. Here we have our delicious pork tamale. I hope you like this recipe. I hope you enjoy, and thanks for watching.